Good morning, YouTube. Okay, anyway, good morning, YouTube. I'm up early. I think it's still within it's going on at 2 o'clock. Is it the 2 o'clock hour? Had a pretty successful day yesterday. Ended where I was supposed to end at. And that song just gets you all fuzzy inside when you hear that intro. Um, had an early day yesterday. My pool business, pool maintenance company is doing fairly well. I mean, I'm still here. I'm still standing, wiping some of these keys down. Um, and as I was getting up, and what allowed me to actually be up earlier to do these videos was that um, I got done early. Got done early. I had to think about why I was getting done earlier as opposed to last year. Because last year I had a couple of exciting things going on. Getting married was one of them, so there was a lot of coming home, talking with the coordinators, going through counseling, blah 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 blah. So my attention was diverted, or my attention was in multiple places as they should. Here in Vegas, home in Chicago, paying attention to the new wife, Mrs. Blair. I'm not gonna call her new wife. I like to give her a name. So so people will know, hey, that's Miss Blair. Give her a name. You know. And I said to myself, I said, Josh, why are you getting done earlier this year? What's going on? And I said, now that I have those goals accomplished, I said, now it's time to get back to business. Now it's time to get back to the business at hand, which is making sure this business, the one that puts food on the table, is running efficiently and effectively. And that in turn is going to make sure that the business of making music, this Pay It Forward Youth Foundation, this sounds with a Z of music, is going to be birthed successfully. And as I was getting ready today, I thought about a particular. I'm logging into another older cell phone, because I'm not going to be sitting at the computer at the same time. That there's a specific verse where it talks about your young men dreaming dreams and your old men seeing visions. And it's interesting how that is tailored, because when you're young, you want to live the dream. I'm living a dream. I got the house, I got the car, I got the girl of my dreams. But as we transition to the old man and the gray hairs, it's time that we start seeing visions. And those visions are visions of what we want life to look like for our next generation. I'm not gonna say generations because I have another philosophy that includes theology as to what happened to those. If you even if you think about Martin Luther King Jr., he had a diminished dream, a tarnished dream, especially when we make jokes about him. The reason why, I think the last joke I heard, which I did chuckle at, but then I kind of felt ashamed of the chuckle, was that the reason why I only have nightmares is because of the last ninja. I'm gonna say it like that, or the last nigga to have a dream got shot. We make jokes like that now, and you may chuckle at it at first, but then once you start to think of it, that's not funny. That's not funny. The men such as Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, they never got to see their vision. Martin Luther King never even turn off. Martin Luther King never even got to see his dream being fulfilled because he was killed. He was assassinated. Same thing with Malcolm X. Killed, assassinated. So these are guys that never got to see their children's children. Think about that. They never got to see their children's children. My grandparents are they got to see their children's. They're in their 90s, and that's such a blessing. Um, but the reason why I'm up at 2 a.m., or the reason why I'm getting everything, I'm starting to build another website, um, is in life you can and I put it like this. I got hired on as a music teacher. I got hired as a music teacher. Where's it left? Get that rhythm pattern right. I got hired on as a music teacher, and I didn't bind or commit myself to an intense schedule with the music school because I had the same idea. I have the same idea. So in life, you're either going to, and there's nothing wrong with being self-employed. My wife is a nurse practitioner, and she works at an establishment. Went to school for it, and I can't say that she's living somebody else's dream, because that's a different thing. That's a different thing. Teaching, the fundamentals, the doctor, the teachers, the law enforcement, those are the structural professions in society. But as I was talking to one of the guys that used to work for me, he's now working for another company, and I still pour into him. I say, hey man, you're very talented. You need to, this is what I would do. And he hasn't worked with me since 2022, 23, 24, so 3 years. before I transition into what you guys see me doing today. So now he went to work for another company, and they treated him pretty good. And that company turned around and sold to another company. You know, they did the Pharaoh thing to him, where now this company is starting to put the squeeze on them, even though they're paying them good and they're letting them know we pay you good. And I have my thoughts on that. I was like, well, that's kind of a foot on the neck approach. We paying you good. I don't need to know that. Just pay me. um, Many years ago, when he was under my tutelage, I used to pour into him about starting his own business. It's like my goal for my technicians has always been that you go off and start your own, which is the reason why I have given away multiple routes. I've built routes, given them away. There you go. They go 60. They go 30. They go this. Go start your own. Get out of the nest. Get out, y'all. Y'all been under me too long, but truth be told, it's a they were scared at the time, and rightfully they should be. Well, how we gonna get paid? Blah blah blah. Well, if you already have somebody that's willing to usher you into the next phase of life, take advantage of that. I was like, hey, you guys don't need to worry about that. You just need to worry about getting your licensure, getting your insurance, blah 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 blah. As far as the pay is already there because I'm just gonna give it to you guys. But I can't keep giving it to you guys if you guys don't go and get your own. And one of them left, and the other one I had to phase out because I was telling him for years, hey man, get your own. I can't have you out there working under my license, and then if you get something messed up, all of a sudden it's coming back to me. But that's neither here or there at this point. So now he's working for another company trying to build his brand. And sometimes you've got to take the opportunity afforded to you. Got to get into the water while it is while the water is being troubled by those angels. You got to get into the water then and have faith. You know, I'm gonna get to preaching to you guys. You know, take up your bed and hey, you waiting by the I forgot what was it called in the Bible. Let's look it up. This is the reason why I got two phones, so I won't be back and forth to my computer. Jeez. Water did the angels trouble. For healing. I'm going to type this in real quick. Yeah, okay, it was in my head the right way. In the biblical account, an angel was said to trouble the waters of the pool of Bethesda. And the first person to enter after the stirring was believed to be healed. So there was this poolside. Let me grab this C4. Let me grab this C4. Okay. Hopefully I shouldn't drink two of these. There's this poolside in the Bible. And let's if I can equate this to a fountain, you know, like a Buckingham fountain, or you know, it was big enough where people would notice that the water would start to, some weird current was starting to happen in the water, and they called that the angel trouble in the water. And it was believed that when the people saw the water being troubled, and we don't know how true this is, you know, this is 2025 where we can't fathom these things happening. Go figure. We can fathom technology, but we can't fathom this happening. But you know, let's check out what's going on in some third world countries. But anyway, I digress. So when this was happening, whoever made it to the water and happened to get in, I mean, you had people, army crawling to it, trying to roll into it, they would be healed. And if you miss that troubling, you gotta wait till the next troubling. So there are gonna come times, it's like we were watching a documentary last night, me and my wife, of I forgot what the name of the documentary was. Let me see. Check this out on YouTube. 218 documentary. On YouTuber, Netflix, abuse. Let me see. Okay, yeah, check this out. It's called The Dark Side of Kid Fluencing. The Dark Side of Kid Fluencing. Check it out. It's pretty interesting. But it talks about this woman by the name of Tiffany Smith, and she turns her preteen daughter into a YouTube star alongside a group of child influencers called The Squad. We're not talking about Loiter Squad. We're talking about white America. And keep this in mind. I was starting to watch this documentary, and I said, where was I at when this YouTube explosion was happening? But she started her daughter on a music app, and this music app, I think it was called like Musicology or something like that. But it's now TikTok. And if you were at the height of these so-called waters 10 years ago, I think they're going back to 2011. I said to myself, what was I doing in 2011? I was like, I was trying to trouble these waters with the pool business, the bread business. I was trying to get my own. My mind wasn't thinking about social media back then. But even if you follow guys like Crank Lucas, guys like a lot of guys that I aspire or follow, they started early, and they're at thousands of subscribers, blah blah blah. Keep this in mind. The water for social media is still, if you think about it, where are we at now? 2025. So 10 years ago is 2015. YouTube, even though it's not young, it's still in its teenage phase. It's still in its teenage phase. It is still leading the pack as far as social media goes, as far as advice goes. And some of that advice is good, but as far as the waters being young and being troubled, it's not too late to jump in. And I don't want to call myself an influencer, a content creator. I just want to encourage other people to start living your own dream. Because nobody is going to live that dream for you. Nobody is going to make that happen for you. As far as it comes to this music thing, this teaching thing, I am, time and time again, I realized, I said, nobody's going to make that happen for me. Nobody's going to make the finances come in line for me. So I've got to do it myself. I've got to literally, and whatever that means, I've got to create this content, go online, create the school. I'm quite sure you guys saw me of a clip, had a do-rag on my head just a minute ago at the desktop, doing some things on the keys to see how that would look. Those are things that I bought years ago, but because I was running a thriving pool business, a thriving, dying pool business. And the reason why I'm saying dying is because we were on the verge of COVID, and that changed everything, where eventually that previous business did die off, and that allowed me to birth what you see today. It's a small baby. And I didn't even birth a big baby because I understood that the money wasn't in the majority. The money was in the minimum. The money was in the minimum, and I'll explain what that means a little later on. But all of that, all this dream living, right now I've lived the dream. You know, at my level of success, I was telling one of my clients, I said, there's a time where I was making about 30,000 a month, 30,000, 26 to 30,000. And I was feeling good. I was young. I was, this happened probably, I was, how old am I now? 47, 37, about 36 years old, 35 years old. And my background was I came from Ford Motor Credit. And I thought I was doing good back in 2004 with the 26,000. And you know, by the time 2008 rolled along, I was climbing the corporate ladder. Okay, now you're at 35,000 a year. You know, and I was feeling good. And by some mischievous movement of going into Fast Data and pulling my credit report, I decided to quit because that was against the rules. And I went from working from Ford Motor Credit to Consolidated Resorts, which was a timeshare. And mind you, I'm still going to DeVry, I'm still going to Liberty University because I wanted to be a psychologist, and I wanted to figure out what was wrong with people, namely people in my family. I'm like, why did my mother do this stuff? What was going on? What's this manic depressive? What's this postpartum depression? Why was blah 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 blah? And you know, I'm still trying to forge away. But as soon as I had doubled my income, soon as I literally doubled my income, I went from making 32 to making about 65,000, just like that. Bonus structure. I was chilling. I was doing good for that time of life. You know, back in 2008, 2009, I was doing pretty good. I already had my first house, first wife, 2 cars. I was climbing that American dream ladder, not knowing that I was climbing it kind of into a burning building. Sound like some Martin Luther King stuff. I've led my people into a burning building. And the reason why I really didn't lead it into a burning building. However, throughout that process, I started, you know, I said, you know, I don't want to keep trying to make this bonus. Your seats got to be secured. You got to hustle. So I got my CDL. Got my CDL Class B, not Class A. You know, you can still get a lot of good jobs as a Class B. My wife has a Class A. I wouldn't preferably be an OTR. You know, the money's not there. The money is driving actually in town. And I began working for a company called DS Waters, Hinckley and Schmidt Sparklets, as a CDL delivery driver, a self-service representative. And let me put that in layman's terms. I deliver water. Thought I was proud when I threw on that uniform. I'm like, yes. You know, Deontay Kyle calls the CDL a master's degree for niggas in the hood. I had the master's degree. But I wasn't in the hood, man. I'm over here in Henderson, Nevada. So I got that. And I was doing good dropping off my little bottles of water. Doing good, except they wanted to sell you Kool-Aid, candies, squinchers. They wanted to tie your water delivery to a bonus structure, which I was like, nah, we're not doing this again. They paid for the CDL. I call him my brother, close dear childhood friend. Started his own business. He was previously working. We're both running at the same pace, and I started working for him. But I had always aspired to work for myself. So as soon as I started being contracted by him, I said, man, how do I get a hold of the cream? That's always gonna be my thing. How do I get a hold of? I want my own. I want my own. And I've never, even to this day, that's my thing. And I was like, no, I can do this myself. Even with the music company that I, well, we're gonna come back to that. I want my own. So, uh, how can I make this sound without making this sound the way I want to make it sound? His goal wasn't for. I'm gonna say it. This is my perspective, and everybody has their own story, but his goal wasn't for me to have my own. He paid fairly well, but it was to keep his going, and I was like, nah, I want my own. So we parted ways. We're still very good friends to this day, like a brother. And I started working for this pool company. And as soon as I started working for this pool company, I saw where the chips were falling. I saw the income, and I said, I want my own. I've never stopped wanting my own. And as soon as I started working, I went and got my own. And he fired me because I understood that I was a subcontractor. Even with this music thing right now, I want my own. And they have even told me, hey, there's nothing wrong with you guys going to work for other music schools, blah blah blah. But as long as you just don't take our customers, that's what they're saying. I've heard it before. They're a young company. Um, but I want my own. Instead of me hustling to get you clientele or keep your clientele happy, let me just get my own. And if you guys see the supporting level on YouTube, let's get it right. Hit that softly. 2, 1, 2. So we're gonna go with the 2, 3. Even with this music thing, I want my own. And that goes back to what I'm gonna say. Here's the thing. You can help a company or a corporation, and again, there's nothing wrong with working for Pepsi Cola, working for kind of like my wife is working for her establishment. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. However, I've never been like that. I want my own. Here's the thing. Look. If you guys see all these keyboards here, and you say, "Hey, can we?" My dear friend, let's go with the. And he said, "Can I use one of the keyboards for church?" And I said, "No." I said, "No, nay, no." Because here's one thing I realized: nobody's gonna treat your stuff like you treat your stuff. I treat people's stuff better than they treat their stuff because of how I treat my stuff. And I said no, but I was willing to. I said, man, let me bless you and get you. If you like this model, you can't have mine, but I'm gonna get you your own. I was gonna do that 2 times, because I want my own. I don't like sharing. I'm gonna put that out there. Don't like sharing. Especially in today's world, and I'm digressing with the conversation when people talk about open relationships and all that. I said, no, no, I don't like that. I don't like sharing at all. Period. Like Martin used to say, get to stepping. Uh, but either you can go through life, excuse me, you can either go through life helping somebody build their dream, or you can just build your own. You can just build your own, and you can use whatever avenue, such as your 9 to 5, to do that. You should, especially in today's society where jobs are just jobs. You know, even career, you think you got a career, that career happens to be a job when they turn around and say, you know what, we don't like the way your face look today. It's a job. Even the business that I do, you know, where I say, no, one day a customer could turn fickle, blah blah blah. But at least I am in the field of building my own. And if you guys notice what I'm building now, you know, yeah, everybody needs pool service, but there's a gang of people, especially the new cats coming up doing this. I like that. Remember, go down to man, I love that song. Nora Jones, don't know why. Don't know why I love that song, but yes, I do know why. But either you can help somebody build their dream, or just build your own. Build your own. I'm definitely that type of person. I don't like to share. We go into business together. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to have 50. I'm going to have the 51, and you're going to have the 49. I'm Volkswagen, you Porsche. We'll make sure I got the ultimate control. And I'm not a controlling person, but that's just the way I am. That's just the way I am. I was like, no, I'll pour in the bigger investment so that I can have the bigger say. Because we both can't be equal up in this piece. There has to be somebody that has the overriding factor in business, and that's going to be me. So I'm saying all this to say that especially in today's age, while this social media is still hot, while and it's not going anywhere, because this is the way of the world. This is the new normal right here. You know, I was even looking at where they said Elon Musk was predicting another pandemic. You guys see how I'm mixing up the chords now? I'm taking the chords from After the Love Is Gone. I'm doing I Love You, Lord. Magnify your name is. Where's magnify your name at? Let me go back. Ah. Magnify your. Because you gave me such a special friend, and I magnify. So we're gonna go with the and C majors. Magnify your. Okay. Anyway, folks, I'm gonna upload this. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, hit the bell notification. Like, subscribe, share, hit the bell notification. And if you're young and you have a dream and you're currently working for Big Corp, use that as a stepping stone. But I'm going to encourage you to start building your dream. And here's the weird thing: the dream now ain't even the American. What Kanye West say? We're living the American dream. American dream was just to have a house and a good career. No. That dream has actually turned into a nightmare. That dream is actually turned into a nightmare, and we're gonna talk about that a little later. But the new dream that has morphed now is entrepreneurship. Developing your own brand. We are, they had the Industrial Revolution. This is now the Social Revolution. And I think that's how we're going to title this. Hey, build your own dream. You build your own dream. From the industrial to the social revolution. Peace out.